masculinity and happiness are not exclusive. Masculinity and happiness are not always exclusive to one another. You can be masculine. That's very important, but happiness will not always be there. And unfortunately, in the modern world we live in, the pursuit of happiness is considered to be the end all and be all. But happiness is just a fleeting emotion. And oftentimes, people mistake happiness for the pursuit of pleasure, which is hedonism. When you pursue short-term pleasure at any cost, when you pursue short-term pleasure, it has a cost on your mind, on your body, but it is not happiness. It actually makes you weak. Why does it make you weak? You have this molecule, dopamine. Dopamine is amazing. When it is given as a reward for doing harder things, for doing tedious things, for pursuing goals, for pursuing a worthwhile course of action. Unfortunately, you have the counterpart of dopamine, which is the cheap dopamine you get from short-term pleasure, whether it's scrolling, porn, alcohol, Netflix, TV shows, scrolling, I said that already, so on and forth. Those are short-term pleasures because they are so easy to access. And that cheap dopamine is not really a reward as the real dopamine you get here. I mean, both of them are real, but that's a worthwhile dopamine. Here it's cheap, it's so easy to access. It's not even as a reward for pursuing something great, for pursuing something good. It's so easy, and you can just be on your phone, watch porn. You can just buy a beer. You can just scroll excessively and consistently. All of this is so easy to access. And you might think that being a hedonistic person, that pursuing happiness is actually fulfilling, but it is not. It's actually making you weaker. Because the more you indulge in those short-term pleasures that have a place in moderation, like if you do it excessively, you will make your life more dull. You will install kind of a grayness and a darkness. Why? Why? Because the more you indulge in those short-term pleasures and that cheap dopamine, the more you overflow those dopamine receptors you hate in your brain, and the weaker they will become. And the weaker they will become, and the less efficient they will become. So you are desensitizing your brain. So when you desensitize your brain to those short-term pleasures, understand that the pleasure you felt at the beginning will not be the same after a while, because you build tolerance in your brain. And that pleasure will soon enough be replaced by pain. Because the more you do so, the less pleasure you have, and then it becomes pain because your dopamine receptors are desensitized, so you won't be able to derive dopamine from the mundane daily task of your life. And that is why the more pain you feel, the more you want to revert back to those short-term pleasure, because your brain thinks that those short-term pleasure are the solution to that pain. So it becomes a vicious cycle. Whereas when you pursue your goals, when you have a purpose, when you are on your masculine, authentic path, there is a pain, but it's the pain you have chosen to accept. Short-term pleasures are just pain disguised as pleasure. Here, you will struggle to find out who you are. You will struggle to find your authentic self. And when you pursue your goal and your mission and answer the call to adventure, for those of you who have read Joseph Campbell. And yes, there will be struggle, but you do not see pain, but you understand that pain comes with the territory. So you embrace it wholeheartedly, knowing that those pains are growing pains and will make you a more self-actualized person, a stronger person, a wiser person. Whereas here, that pain is not something you have chosen. You have chosen the pleasure, but it's actually pain disguised as pleasure. And that pain will lead you to be in this vicious cycle and will lead you to your demise and lead you to be more depressed, in a state of apathy, and can even lead you to suicide. But more importantly, it can lead you to waste your potential. And that is important. A masculine man understands that his potential might come to some struggle, but he wants it over anything else. He wants to know what he's capable of. Here, you're just wasting your life away. Slowly but surely, or maybe sometimes quickly but surely, but you're wasting it. This is not happiness. Understanding that being masculine and being on your purpose is so much more important than those short-term pleasure. And some of them can be indulged in moderation. But here, and not always being happy is more important. And interestingly enough, the more you can be in your purpose, doing harder things, being your more authentic self, finding out who you are, doing things like meditation, working out, pursuing a goal, pursuing a career, starting a business, learning a new language, boxing, so on and so forth. The more you can be rewarded by this with real dopamine, and the more you can find a certain level of fulfillment, peace, and actual happiness. And that is what I want for all of you guys. So choose wisely, short-term pleasures versus long-term fulfillment. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Sebastien, your addiction recovery coach. I'm here to help those of you who want to give up porn, sexualize their mind, and other addictive compulsions and behavior. And I'm sure I can help you. Links are in the description box below.